Okay, guys, so this is a car that we want to put in 3/4 view. So again, for this class, don't do the 3/4 view until you're done with the front and rear cheater views. Okay, the 7/8 view. Don't do this yet, only if you're done with everything else, okay? But I just wanted to show this to a few of you guys. Okay, so what we're going to try to do is we're going to try to put this side view into a perspective view, okay? So first thing then we need to do is go over perspective. So if you guys remember, or if you haven't had it before, it starts with the horizon line or eye level. I like to call it eye level because it tells me what it is. Okay, it's the level of your eye, or some people call it the horizon line. Okay, and then we're going to have 2 points, a left vanishing point and a right vanishing point. We're going to do 2-point perspective. Okay, so if I were to draw, let's say, a rectangle in here, right? Somewhere in here, maybe I'll draw it real close to the horizon line. Let's say I'm going to draw a rectangular box in here. So if that's the front right corner of the box, this is the bottom and this is the top of the box, everything's got to go to the vanishing points, right? So this goes to the right vanishing point, the top goes to the right vanishing point like this, and then this is the left vanishing point. So this goes to this side, and this one goes to this side. So you guys can see the box now, right? This is the front side of the box, and this is the front, and this is more of the side. So let's say I make the box about this wide, right? So if it's that wide, now what I'm going to do is bring this line over to this vanishing point. It's going to be a little tricky because it's almost flat. There it goes. A little wiggly there at the end, but it's doable. And let's say this is the back of that box. So now you guys can see the whole box. And from here, we got to go to the left vanishing point. So you can see how that goes like this. And then this is our box. And just to be completely clear, we're going to do the bottom part of the box just to make sure it goes in like that. So this is the back side of the box, what you can't really see in the front, but just wanted to show that on perspective. Okay, so that is the perspective basically that we're going to use for this. So 2 vanishing points, horizon line, eye level, and we're going to put the car basically in this box. The other thing I want to go over is how to draw a circle in perspective, right? A circle drawn in perspective is an ellipse. So let's go over an ellipse really quick. I'll do it like right here. If you guys remember from geometry, right? When you draw your ellipse, like this, there's 2 diameters with the ellipses, right? This one is the major diameter, the long side, and the short side is called the minor diameter, right? And this axis that the minor diameter is on is called the minor axis. Okay, minor axis. This is the minor diameter. That's the ellipse. So we're going to draw a circle in perspective, right? So I'm going to try to do something that looks like a square in perspective. And I think it looks like it's about right here. Maybe a little bit more. Yeah, okay, pretty close. So let's say this is a square in perspective, right? Now, the way to draw the circle into this square is to think of it as if we were looking at it head on. So we're maybe looking at it like this, and this is the square, right? Now, if we're going to draw a circle in here, a perfect circle that equals the length of one of the sides, that the diameter equals the length of one of the sides, then the circle would touch the midpoint of each of these line segments, right? So how do we get the midpoint of each one of these line segments without measuring? Okay, there's a real quick, easy technique. All you got to do is draw an X through the box like this, right? And then you draw, that gives you the center of the box. So now all I get to do is draw the horizontal and the vertical, and I get the midpoints, right? So now I can draw a circle in here. right? Like this. Okay, so now we're gonna do that on here, okay? Because we don't really want to measure it. We can measure it. There is a way to measure it, but we don't really want to put a measuring system on this. So let's just do the same thing we did. So we draw the X, and that gives us the center of the box in perspective, right? So, and then we draw the vertical, and then we draw the horizontal. But the horizontal, since we're now looking at it in perspective, has to come from this point in the center and go to this vanishing point. Okay, so if we do that, then we get the four edges, the four midpoints of each one of these line segments, right? So now we got 4 points, and there's one other guide that you can use to draw the ellipse in here, or the wheel, right? And that's this, the minor axis. That's why I went over it, okay? And the minor axis basically will go perpendicular to this surface right straight through that middle point, okay? So let's say my hand is the face of that square. It's gonna come through it like this, okay? So I'm gonna come from this vanishing point, because it's gonna be opposite, because it's gonna be perpendicular to the point. It's gonna come straight through here, straight through that point, and come out this way, okay? So this is the minor axis. Also, it's gonna be the axle of the car, right? If this is where the wheel is gonna be. So this is what we have now, right? We have a minor axis like this. I'll draw it over here to the side. So the minor axes, and then we have 4 points, kind of like this. 4 points. So that's all I want you guys to think about when you're drawing this. Don't worry about the perspective. Just worry about these 4 points and a minor axis. And now what I find too, one little thing that I find that makes it easier for me is when I put my forearm along the minor axes, it's very easy for me to draw the thinnest part of the ellipse right on that minor axis, okay? So it's, because that's what we want to do. We want to, here's a little bit off, but you want to draw that minor, the thinnest part, the minor diameter right on the, for instance, if I had a vertical line, and that was my minor axis, it's really easy for me to just draw ellipses all day. Just the thinnest part's right on that line, right? So that's what I'm gonna do when I do this. Put my forearm right along the minor axes, and all I'm gonna do is think about the minor axes and these 4 points, right? And try to get pretty close. That's pretty close. So there's my wheel for the car, okay? So that sets up the whole perspective part. And so let me stop recording now, and then I'm gonna do a second recording showing how we're gonna do this to this car, okay? Using all the fundamentals of perspective and ellipses and circles in perspective, okay?